Here's our lineup of characters. We have the basic oils, which we're going to use olive oil, coconut oil, lard, and castor oil. We've got our distilled water and our lye. For our scents, we are using litsea oil, orange 10X, and cedarwood. Cedarwood would be great for the wood, and the others would just lighten the scent. For colorants, we have cocoa, turmeric, and activated charcoal. And then we're using these homemade molds that I made out of corrugated plastic. In these bowls, I've got a little bit of olive oil just to help blend the colors, because especially with cocoa, you don't want any of these cocoa chunks sitting there. So you just want to be really sure there's no chunks in there. So I just like to smush it against the bottom until I don't see any little balls popping up. Okay, so I'm going to scent these with litsea, cedarwood, and orange 10, and I'm going to add a different scent into each one and then a little bit into the main one as well. And I'm not adding that much. I find essential oils to be very strong, so I'm not weighing these because I know I'm adding a lot less than what I'm allowed to, because I'm just adding little drops. And this one has, I think, enough for the amount of soap batter that it has in it, so I'm not going to add any in there. Now the orange oil, you'll notice, is actually quite orange, so I'm going to put my turmeric in there so that it will match the soap. And that's again why I didn't add it here, because I want this one to be more of a clear, translucent wood color, the creamy color in wood. So we're going to add this in. And I need a place to put all my dirty dishes. I'm soaping at my mother's house, and so I'm learning for the first time what it's like to soap in a very small space. I normally soap in my garage, so I have 2 large tables to soap with and a giant bookshelf behind me that stores all my supplies, and so it's very easy for me to soap. Here, I've brought everything in my little tote, and I'm trying not to make a mess because this is my mother's dining area, and it's much more difficult. So my heart goes out to all of you soaping in small spaces. Time to start our layering. So I'm going to move these all aside. And I have a clean bowl here where we are going to layer down the side. So we're just going to pour it. Ooh, maybe I did get that a little thicker than I wanted to. That's a little more like straight pudding. Let me just stir that a little bit. Okay. So down the side we go. Try and do this as fast as I can. Oh, I wonder if that's the order that I want to go in. Let's see, I think I want to do light, dark, light. So we're going to do cream, brown, oops, orange, black. So I'm amazed by the people that are, churning out mold after mold of soap. I find that for me, soaping is a rather emotional affair. I find that I have to do a lot of planning before I even start. And I know that that's because I'm new at it, and it's still kind of scary to me. But even once I finish making a bar of soap, I feel like I need to rest. Like I need to breathe and let my mind just relax a little bit before I start my next one, because it's just, I feel like every time I make soap, I'm going into war, and I'm not able to relax or to breathe until it's over. And then I just need to regain my sanity before I start again. It's like an act of madness every time I do it. But I still don't want to stop. I just want to keep going. Okay, I definitely think I went too thick, and I know that I said it doesn't matter if the consistencies match, but I'm starting to think the consistencies do match, because You can see how the black and the brown, they're much thinner in consistency, and they are the ones spreading out the most. So I'm worried I'm gonna have chunks of white and orange here and then layers of black and brown there. But, you know, wood is its own thing. Mother Nature makes art of all kinds, so we'll just pretend I'm making some exotic wood that's only found in, you know, some far off land that I've never heard of and only seen in nature videos. So we're just gonna keep going with it. Tawanda. All right, we're at the very end here. I'm just gonna kind of push this in. Let's see, we were doing the cream next. And I'll save a little bit just in case I want to try to make some wood lines on the top. So I won't clean out my bowls too much. All right, now you're normally supposed to just pour straight into your mold from this point. But I found that I like to just go with the grain of the soap and just do a little zigzag. But again, this is my first time making solid wood soap. I've only done this for the redwood forest, where I was trying to make sure that my colors were mixed to make a wood grain. But redwood definitely has a different type of wood grain to it than your most, you know, your pine or your oak. Okay, so we're gonna get our molds. See, already I am just feeling like exhausted. I haven't even finished yet, and I feel like I've gone to war already. So what I'm going to do is just a back and forth motion on this one. We're just gonna do ribbons of wood grain and hope it works out. Okay. Whoops, there goes my clip. All right, that actually looks really pretty to me. I'm gonna tap it to get any air bubbles. I don't know if you can see the little air bubbles breaking on the surface, but this is definitely an important part, especially if you soap thick the way that I do. Okay, so there's one. And I think I'm just gonna continue with that technique. I really like the way that looks. So just kind of ribbon it. I'm trying to make, you know where they take wood that has cracks in it and they fill it with blue epoxy? Ooh, look at all those bubbles that came to the surface. So the tapping down is an important step. Well, usually a lot of those wood projects are made with wood burls. So this actually is a perfect technique, I think, for making a wood burl, because look at the way that looks. Oh, it just looks so lush. All right, let's see if any of these need more soap in them than others. All right, I'll come back when I'm done plopping all this stuff on. Okay, so I'm just taking the last little bits now and kind of adding them to the soap. And I would like to drizzle them on wood grain style, you know, go with the grain of the wood, but that's not gonna happen here. So I'm just gonna plop them on and then use a skewer to try to make it go with the grain of the wood. And hopefully I'm not ruining it too badly by doing this, but I really don't like wasting soap. I've done pretty good though in not wasting soap. I tend to scrape as much as I can off before I wash the dishes, and I use it for soap confetti or soap marbles. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited. I finally have enough soap marbles to make a galaxy soap. So that's gonna be one of the next videos I make, is my first ever galaxy soap. Oh, it just always amazes me. Every time I finish a batch of soap, it amazes me how messy soap can be. Okay, I may save this white and use it for something else. I don't want too much white on the tops of these soaps. No, maybe not. Maybe we'll just go with it. Okay, that's all I dare to do. Okay, so again, we're just gonna tap these babies down a bunch. Keep our clips. That's the only problem with these corrugated plastic is the clips can pop off when you least expect it when you're banging these down like this. All right, now that I've destroyed that beautiful wood grain look I had going on, let's see if we can kind of bring it back just by running this up and down along the wood, trying to get back that wood grain. Make a little circle now and then where a branch would be. That's not too bad, right? Okay, I think that'll work. Whoops, unless I do that. Okay, so we're just gonna go back and forth along the top. I'm not going deep with my stick because I loved the wood grain pattern we had underneath the top swirls. So just make a branch now and then. Just kind of swirl it to get those branch looks for wood. Okay. Can you guys, whoops, see this one? Oh, I am soaping so messy. So this is going lopsided because the clip slid out. So you want to make sure your clips are up there. This one's looking a little less wood grainy. Let's see if we can get that to look more like wood. It's so hard. You want to get that wood grain really fine, but you also don't want to muddy up the colors. All right, guys, my very first wood grain. We'll unmold these later, see if we can make some cracks, and then pour in some blue epoxy. So this has never happened before. I usually have to wait at least 48 hours to do my unmolding. And I was just impatient. This is the same day that I made this. This is in the evening. But look at this. Isn't that fun? I love the colors. I think I may have used a tad too much turmeric. It's very greeny looking, or speckled. But I thought I would unmold some of these here for you. So look how cleanly this pulls away from the mold. Oh, love it. It just snaps apart. It's sometimes hard to get it off the bottom. You just kind of have to patiently work it off the soap. And look at that, it just comes off nice and clean. Oh, I love that effect. That looks so beautiful. This will be a fun one to cut. So let me unmold this one and then we can cut them and take a look at them. This is my first time using a water discount. I have to say I love the water discount. So there's the back of this one. That is so pretty. This one looks a little less like wood, but it's still gorgeous. Okay, so the benefit of using these coroplast or corrugated plastic molds is that you can make any custom size you want, and they do a pretty good job of that smooth mold surface. However, the corners do get spiky, and it does tend to raise on the edges, I have found. So let me see if I can show you there. And sometimes the measurements aren't perfect. So I don't know if you can tell, but this is definitely more narrow than up here. So you're not going to get a perfectly square bar, but for being able to make a custom size mold, I think it's fabulous. So we're just going to cut into this and see what we've got on the inside. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Beautiful wood grain. And same thing there. I am pretty darn pleased with my first attempt at a wood grain. And using natural colorants and essential oils. So this is my first 100% natural soap. I'll cut into this one next, see what we've got on the inside. That's the fun thing with this wood grain one, is every single slab is going to be completely different. So this one had more of the white in it. This one had more of the darker colors. It's still a tad bit soft. I probably should have waited till the next day, the full 24 hours, but I was just so impatient. Well, I have to say that I am very pleased with this batch of soap. I used a brand new recipe. I used a lot more olive oil, and I used a little bit of sugar in the lye water, and I was able to unmold it rather quickly. I was washing this knife off in between cuts, and already I have a copious amount of bubbles, and I'm loving that. I can't say I'm pleased with the smell. My mother says she likes it, but she's very much into natural ingredients. I've mentioned before, I'm not too big on essential oils, but I will say that even though this isn't a pleasant smell for me, it's a big memory smell. It reminds me so much of my grandfather's den. He had one of those, 1970s dens. It was all wood paneling. He had a wood stove. He smoked like a chimney in that den. He had a couple dogs. It was a very manly man den, which was the smell I was going for with the soap, because this is going to be my Father's Day soap. And of course I wanted it to smell like wood, and it fits the bill. It's not necessarily what I want myself to smell like, but you would not mistake it for being a man smell. Or let's just call it a natural wood smell. So if you want to be transported back to your father's wood paneling, or your grandparents' wood paneling den, then I recommend the litsea, Orange 10X, and cedarwood essential oil blend. Oh, I can't get over how happy I am with this soap. Every cut I make, I'm just enchanted with its beauty. I think that might be a new mania of mine, is trying all sorts of different types of wood soap. But this is beautiful, and I was worried because my trace was so thick when I started pouring. But I don't know, I think I'm liking, so far I've had really good luck with my thick trace batter. It's not been what I was going for, but it's always ended up with a good product. Ooh, that cut was too deep. But I kind of, after watching Royal Appleberry, she tends to accidentally get to thick trace every now and then. And every time she has a thick trace, thicker than what she wanted, I've always ended up loving the way her soaps looked. So I might just be a thick trace kind of gal, It might just be my thing. All right, well, I'm going to turn this off now, and I will show you all the bars lined up in a photo.